I didn't want to do it, but I felt it was the only option. And then Andrea, the Guardian of Water, told me that there was the prototype of a cure for the Blight. In fact, it's the veins. It's a lyrium-based cure, similar to how Templars take their magic. It's not a cure, but it's a nullification currently.
Let me guess. Who else knows about this? Does Tyrion know about this?
Tyrion's the person who administers the cure to me.
He sort of looks down, and you can almost sense a little bit of a hurt in his voice when he says, Tyrion didn't say anything to me.
Well, and I think he'd actually recognize that hurt. If there's one thing that I do know is true, is that good people, everyone, even the best of people, lie at some point. Even if it's meant to be a white lie, a lie of omission. Sometimes the reasons are good, sometimes they're not. And you'll find a lot of my advice is very, you might call it wishy-washy or towing the middle, mostly because...
Yes, I do.
Mostly because I feel that each person has to decide for themselves what is right and what is wrong. A great example. I think that Pasha's choice to go back and fix the Qun probably won't work. I think her views on the Qun and the Qun in general, I find to be commendable, yet too cruel in how it goes about enforcing its will. But while I don't agree with Pasha's choice to go back, I won't stop her, because it's what she feels she has to do. And so I approve of her choice. It's something I think she's at peace with and that she wants to do. And for you, if you feel that the thing that will make you be at peace is to see the world in a more black and white view like your father, then I don't begrudge you that. My advice is wishy-washy in terms of giving an objective truth, because I don't think there is such a thing as an objective truth. I think there is one for Maximilian, there's one for Jody, there's one for me, there's one for Pasha, there's one for you. The trick is finding it.
Very wise words, Daretham. Thank you for that.
Well, I try. I'm glad I can help.
Are we good?
I was going to ask you the same thing, but from my view, yes.
He'll hold out his hand to shake.
And he would shake.
Do you want to grab a drink?
Certainly. And, one more thing. This might be some of the most cheesiest advice I've ever given, but life is short, and there's absolutely no harm in trying.
All right. I'm not really sure what you're referring to, but...
Tyrion.
What are you asking about Tyrion?
I'm telling you, I'm giving you advice.
All right. He's still looking at you really weird, oddly, but... Let's go get that drink, he says. He gives you a pat on the shoulder.
All right.
And we'll end that scene there. Who wants to roleplay with whoever? It's free for all. Open season.
I mean, I would try to, while we're having that drink with Nathan, I would try to drag Tyrion into it. It's like, hey, Tyrion, come on over. Come on.
If you want to awkwardly hook Tathan up, you can do your heart's desire.
I mean, the thing is, I've seen the hurt, I've seen the looks, so I'm like, you two need to just talk, and you need to discuss your feelings and talk it out like adults, and I'm going to do that.
Tyrion, I've been like putting all the signs out there, and you're not picking anything.
I know, but it's me, the player.
know.
Also.
I
It's
know.
not
Hence
you, it's
why.
me.
Hence why
It's not
I'm
you,
like,
it's
we're
me.
gonna go get a drink, and when we do a drink, and then eventually Tyrion pops in, I'm like, hey Tyrion, come join us.
If that's what you want to
I-
do, unless Skull wants to roleplay with
I,
somebody else.
I will do that thing, but not actually first. That first. I will
Yes,
say we can
certainly,
do that later. But
Yeah, doesn't have to be
if
today
anyone
either.
wants to roleplay, I was considering either roleplaying between either Darren or either Darren or how do I forget? Nadia. Was it Nadia? I always forget. Hold up.
Naraka.
Yeah. Either or. I don't know who to choose, to be honest. But I don't
I
believe.
I have stuff ready for Darren.
Okay.
But you're welcome to roleplay with Naraka and take it to whatever direction you'd like.
All right. Actually, sure. Let's do that. I haven't spoken to Darren that much, like ever since I think we escaped. So ever since the winter, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. So he's going to wherever she is.
She is in the breaking in. I love that. She's in the breaking in. And
Oh, you really broke that one in, Hark.
Oh.
I did not name this place. The Guardians named the breaking in. So as well as on the left tap house. So most of the names here are from them. So you go into the breaking in, and there is a small bar. It's not as large of a bar as the tap house, but I think the breaking in's bar is smaller but more upscale. And she seems to be. I think she has a drink as well as salad. Maybe she's having a salad for her meal at the moment. And you're just going to approach her?
Yeah, I'll sort of like take a seat beside her. How's it going, Darren?
Why, hello, Tyrion. How are you enjoying the breach?
It looks interesting. I didn't expect to find a place like this exist, but it's got a lot of things to do around here.
I was gonna say the Guardians have a really great place here. Maybe you avatars should consider having a hideout of your own when all of this is good and done.
Well, I think we might have that. It depends. Who knows? We'll see. But I think with the whole demigod, the god thingamajig, I think we already have our own places, possibly in the future, but we will see. He's gonna ask for if there's someone who's like here for drinks. If you can order excuse me, can I have some wine, please?
Yeah, the bartender will say, of course, and he will pour you some wine. So, Taryn, we haven't spoken in a while. What brings you here?
To check you up actually. I think last we spoke was since around the winter, if I'm correct.
I've been doing fine. I think between the two of us, you are the one most affected by the events of Tevinter.
Unfortunately, yes. But I think after some talking time and the trial, it's giving a perspective.
Oh? What type of perspective?
I know what I did. It's there, but it's not something to worry about for now. I have other big problems to deal with. And if ever the time comes for me, I will return and, well, we'll see what happens there. I know what I did. I followed my heart, my emotions.
And yes, you followed your emotions, and here you are now. No regrets?
Some, but I think I know what I did, and I think that I am stuck on that beaten path now.
So are you not going to turn yourself in to Tevinter when all of this is done? She asks.
I don't. Can I give you the honest answer? Before when that all happened, I would have considered with a heartbeat. done and gone there. But now, I'm not so sure. On the one hand, I want at least that not what I did, is what I did, not what the people will be doing. Sure, but however, in the other, I don't know. It all depends what happens to side drills. Depends on what happens to me now with the demigod, and with God. I mean, once you become a god, what's the point of going to prison, right?
She's looking at her glass while you're talking to her, and she's just swirling her drink around in her glass, just watching it as you're talking. Go ahead.
Something wrong.
So, there's something that Daretham told me once about lies and lies of omission. I'm guilty about such things, just as much as everybody else is.
Same here.
I was actually planning on telling Daretham this first, but now that you and I are talking face to face, maybe it's something I should tell you up front.
Speak your mind.
You remember when we went to Winter, and I said I needed 24 hours to return back to the group after I had spoken to my master about succeeding in my final task?
Yeah.
The truth is, Tyrion, I was never granted my freedom. Do you know why I was never granted my freedom?
Why?
Because my final task was technically not complete. I returned you back to Amerin, but within mere hours of returning you back to the owner, that person ended up murdering said master and then ran away once again, which essentially null and voided the arrangement that I had made with that specific contract. So my contract is still outstanding. I've spent the last several days deciding what I was going to do about that because I came back just trying to figure out if I was going to finish what I had started. When I had heard that you were planning on turning yourself to Tevinter on your own, by your own accord, I thought that that would have allowed me to dodge a bullet there, so to speak. You would have been able to do my work for me, and then I would have been able to gotten my freedom that way.
But now?
I don't know, Tyrion. I'm just being very transparent with you. I'm not telling you this to guilt you.
Already have enough guilt on that, so don't worry.
But this is where you and I stand right now. You are still my unfinished business. But in getting to know you throughout the days, if I hadn't spent as much time with you all, I would have betrayed the entire group and taken you back with me without a second thought.
Yeah.
But things are different now, aren't they?
You have a group who cares for you? Daretham? Life like this? And he sort of thinks, stops for a bit, puts the one glass down. He's gonna actually put his hand on her hand. On her wrist. I know I may be seen as someone who's blocked you out of freedom. I'm sorry. I am thankful though that there is no hate, there is no animosity between us.
You have to understand, Tyrion, that I have no ill will against my master.
I understand.
He was always good to me, and I don't want to screw him over either, any more than I want to screw over any of you all. I've known my master longer, and my loyalties with him started long before I met this group.
Yeah.
So I hope you understand the predicament I'm in right now.
I understand that much, yes. It takes his hand away from the wrist, so just let her speak.
What would you do if you were in my position if our roles were reversed?
He thinks, take a sip from the wine. If it was me in your shoes, to be honest, I don't know. I can't give a straight answer on that. You know how my beliefs were? No, really not so sure. But with the people you formed here, with everyone around us, I wouldn't trade that. But that's me. Not you. You have your own choice, your own path, you can do whatever you want. Consequences or not, we all have to start, we all have to make something. I used to look at them as someone I hated. Someone that I wanted him to suffer for something. A good person said to me that instead he became an obsession. And they aren't wrong. Question for you is, will this become an obsession or not?
I don't know how to answer that. Does wanting to tie up a final loose end, trying to finish what I started, is that considered an obsession?
Probably not. But you've been doing it for long.
I know that Calpurnia is having a very difficult time right now. I just thought that maybe if I could be an example of a slave who is willing to work with the system in order to earn their freedom, I was hoping that that might help give her whatever she's trying to do with slavery. It might add an extra feather to her cap, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about me, it's about
System.
what that precedence could set. Just like the precedence that you yourself has been setting as well.
Yeah. It's that I've sort of burnt some of those fetters away. Or at least, for now. That's why I wanted to go back. Maybe try to at least say that it was me and not other slaves. I don't want the other slaves to follow what I did. What I did was me. Every slave is different. Every master hell is different. I don't expect every match to be like Amron, but at least now there are some like him.
Well, you're a demigod now. And from what I've been told, you can also possibly ascend into something more. So,
When I become the god of slaves now, and then all the slaves look up to me. That's
I don't know how that works, Tyrion, but I think the implication is if you choose to go that route, you have the power to change things. Maybe not overnight,
yeah.
but you have influence and possibly the ability to give people hope who otherwise would not have had it.
Yeah. But I don't want all the slaves in Tevinter just to go on a riot and kill their masters, because I did.
Well, then maybe you don't want to be the god of slaves.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to be the god of something else that benefits both parties. I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
but
If that ever comes off the table, I'd consider it. I don't know if I'll ever. I've considered the opportunity for godhood, but how will I say this? It's a double-edged sword, you can say. On one hand, yeah, I have all this power, but on the other, it's not who I wanted to become. You know, I'm a doctor. My goes up to aid people, heal their, relieve their pain. Or maybe actually they could be the same.
I think that whatever happens, you have to make some sort of sacrifice. Whether it's giving up power, or giving up a part of your humanity, or whatever you want to call it. You'll be sacrificing something, so I guess the question is,
What will it be?
what will it be? And is it about yourself, or is it about something bigger than yourself?
Last sip of the wine.
I admit, if I was in your position, I would definitely become a god in a heartbeat.
And what domain would you fall then? What would you become?
Dance, of course.
Hmm.
Or just artistic expression. Obvious for me.
I don't know why back in my mind it just came up choking, but oh well, that's maybe someone else. Maybe that's
God
Zareth.
of choking?
Hmm.
Tyrion,
Actually-
seed of.
Hey,
If we want to talk about choking, I can get Darethim in here as well, and we can have a three-way conversation.
he's already. Ooh.
Or a
He's al-
three-way something.
I
She
think he
says
already
as she
did that
takes a
with
drink.
Leon. He already did that with Leon. I think. But no, it's joke aside.
From what Darethim tells me, Russo likes choking too, so...
Maybe his entire party loves choking. I don't know. I doubt it though. But senior,
Yes, what about him?
do you have an idea why he was tranquiled? Was he a mage?
He was. He ended up in the circle in Orlais, in
Orlais,
the White
yeah.
Spire.
Hmm.
And that's where I found him. And yes, I was the one that took him back before I met you.
I'm correct. Amron said something like that out of character, I believe, in the session 17. Yeah. So he's like, Amron told me, kind of one of the reasons why he got killed.
I am sorry I didn't tell you myself.
It's fine. I'm not happy, but my dad did what he did. I think he probably had the same reasons as me when he ran. Kind of sad there's no way to get him out now. He's now a slave. There's a interesting word. A man chooses, slave obeys. That's what he's following now.
I don't know if I can help you with your father.
I don't know if there's a way to get him out of that. I doubt there's any way to remove tranquility. I think.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. But I think he's best back into Winter. What happened that night, I don't think he's looking at me as someone like his son. Just another servant.
I don't know what to tell you, Tyrion, other than I grew up not really knowing my parents myself, and it's okay. I end up having a family that I made for myself.
Yeah. And that's good on you.
She'll take one more drink, a sip, and she finishes her wine or drink. So, anything else before I leave my tip and find where Darethim is?
For now, that's it, but there is one thing you should know, just a little bit. I know about Daniel. And when he says that, he's gonna sort of stand up and leaves, leaving a tip.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go to Master Ignacio. I can
Sure.
never remember his name. Ignaldo.
Ignaldo, Master
Got it
Ignaldo.
right the first
He is currently at the food court.
Yes,
And-
Pasha is going to run down there.
You're going to go to the food court, and right now it looks like he is next to the sweets area. Of course he is, and he seems to be he seems to be consuming something that looks very custardy. Out of character, it's a creme brulee of sorts. So he's eating something very custardy. It looks like there's some caramelized sugar on top. Oh, this is by far my favorite item here in the Breaches food court. Oh, Pasha, hello.
Master Ignaldo, it is a pleasure to see you again. Also, that looks delicious.
Would you care to have some? I can order up another.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
My treat, he says.
How generous. I actually have a treat for you too. I have a business proposition.
Business? Chick-chick! Money, money, money. Money, money. Well, he says, I'm all ears. Have a seat and let's talk business.
Pasha will take a seat opposite him, and she's going to start pulling out all of her notes that she made on the Bachelorette, and just like putting them all on the table. And she's, now then, Master Ignaldo, I know for a fact that you wanted to make our dear Vala a star, and I think I have just the means to do so.
Yes, yes. You are keeping me in suspense. What is it? What is it?
You see, we came across 3 male griffins. So, I am proposing... Yes, I know, we found them. Don't question it. We just have them. I am proposing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. See the birth of new griffins. The Bachelorette, Griffin Edition. Over the course of one amazing, spectacle-filled night, 3 griffins will compete for Vala's love and affection. The one who wins the Grey Warden crest will be her mate, and the others will be shamed. There will be merchandising, advertising opportunities, sponsorship deals, everything. Or one night only. That boosts prices up, I think, if it's a one-time event. It's going to be amazing. I've already drafted up some ideas.
Oh my goodness gracious, Pasha. If I knew that you were not taken right now, I would give you a big kiss right this moment.
You flatter me, sir, but please stay a table's width away.
I am very focused on the business proposition at hand, and I absolutely love this idea. It's very much. We're going to have to figure out how exactly we're going to market this and blah, blah, blah. Yes.
I mean, I noticed the waterfall. We could do something with that. Fireworks. I'm seeing fireworks on the beach as like the big finale.
Well, I am 100% on board, and I will get right on to figuring out all the details of the merchandising and the advertisement. I'm sure Mai and Tai would find this to be a very fun project as well.
That is fabulous. I do just have to very quickly talk terms, though.
Yes, of course. I like that. Yes, go ahead.
Vala gets top billing and her own dressing room. She deserves it.
Done. I will
Also,
agree to that.
I want 60% of the profits.
60%. 60. Oh, what?
It's my idea. Vala is my friend. I acquired the 3 male griffins. I'm bringing you all of this wonderful opportunity.
I understand, but you know the advertising and the manual, the labor in order to get it. Go ahead.
Can Pasha roll a seduction?
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
Yes.
Except I like to imagine that it's like
Why is
she's
this Tasha's
leading.
go-to move?
Yeah.
It's all she knows.
I think I know what her next domain of her god is. Seducer. There you go.
Yes.
I like to imagine she leans forward, but instead of like revealing cleavage, she's holding up like a picture of like a stuffed griffin toy.
Yes.
And like
Yes.
other opportunity. She's just like, look at all of this good stuff I have.
Yes,
There's more
exactly.
in my bag.
The thing we all have to understand is that Pasha's true domain as a goddess is the god of swaying hips.
There you go.
That is her true
There
domain.
you go. Yes, sashaying. God of sashaying.
Let's see. Please
The
roll
most
well.
powerful.
18 with
Oh.
points.
Yeah, okay, so yes, so you absolutely are able to seduce him with your diagrams and stuffed animals, blah blah blah. And I think Master Ignaldo will say, alright, Pasha, you drive a hard bargain, so very well, I will agree to 60% of the cut for you, he says as he holds out his hand.
Pasha will shake it. Thank you so much, Master Ignaldo. It was a pleasure doing business.
The pleasure is all mine. This is a marvelous idea. Marvelous idea.
Thank you. And Pasha will get up, sashay away. But once again, I like to think there is like business material out of her bag, just like
Sure.
swaying in the breeze.
Sure. You will easily be able to find where Violetta's suite is, which you can presume is where Balin is.
I'm gonna say, like, when they got to the breach, Russo walked almost with, like, purpose straight there.
Yeah. And I'm going to say that, you can, on your way there, you'll probably pass by the beach, and you'll see Arabella and Amaya, and they seem to recognize you, and Arabella, like, taps Amaya on the shoulder and points towards Rousseau's direction, and the two kids end up, like, waving at your direction on your way over to Violetta's.
I'll give him a wave back, but it's, like, on a mission.
I think Arabella, as you're passing by, will say, Mr. Alren, are you going to go see Balin?
Yeah, I am. It's long overdue.
Can you tell him that when he's ready, we want to come play with him here at the beach?
Yeah, without a doubt I will.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alren. And the girls will continue playing at the beach. Then you get to Violetta's door. And what do you do?
I feel like he gets to the door, then, like, stops. Would it be realistic to say I could kill, like, 2 of the sovereigns left in my inventory? Say, like, I got something for Violetta while at the Chiaros? Sure. Okay, I'll
Sure.
fix that in a sec. So he'll get to the door, then he almost freezes as he's about to grab the handle and goes, well then, knock, knock, knock.
So you'll knock on the door, and then I think Violetta will say, yes, who is it?
One who's been away far too long.
Rousseau, and is what she says as you can hear the door opening. And the door will open, and as soon as Violetta sees you, her face just brightens up, and she says, so you did receive Balin's message, she says with a smile.
I did.
She'll go over to you and she'll actually give you a hug.
Yeah, I'd say Russo even ups that straight to a kiss.
Nice. And she'll say, Balin, you have a visitor. Daddy, 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 daddy. And you'll see, like, Balin go up to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna kneel down and just give him a big hug.
You'll go ahead and give him a big hug, and you can feel a warmth from Balin's hand, and you realize he's got a gauntlet in his hand. Or a bracer. He's got the bracer in his hand.
Wearing it continuously now?
Just until I get used to it. Look, it fits perfectly, he says, showing it off.
It sure does. What have you been up to, Balin?
Oh, I've been learning a lot, and I've been playing at the beach, and I've been eating at the food court, and the circus came, and they did a little bit of a show, and I heard that the Broma brothers are going to do their three-person show of Hana Navara, he says with his eyes lighting up.
Well, that's fantastic.
Do you want to come see it, Daddy, with me? He says, looking very excited.
Absolutely.
Yay! He says, so excited. And he's just gonna like walk around. He's gonna start dancing and then start singing some of the songs. That's nice, Balin. That's nice. And then I think Violetta will turn to you and like she'll lip. She won't say it out loud, but she'll mouth, "That was not my idea. I have nothing to do with that," she says.
I really hope not.
That's a deal breaker in the relationship right there.
She says, I can do something and put him to sleep so that he completely forgets about the whole thing.
No, if he wants to go, he should be allowed to go.
Well, maybe we can put something in your ears.
I think I can get over a little bit of singing.
Actually, she'll turn to you and says, "Did you want to spend time with your son, or what exactly did you want to do, Russo?"
He'll look down. Balin, if you could give me and Miss Violetta a moment, I'll come play with you in a sec. But Bera and Elma and Amaya said they wanted to play with you at the beach.
Oh boy, he says. And then he goes over and he gets his overruled hammer, and he'll run out the door and make his way towards the beach. I'm so glad you were able to come, Russo. He has definitely been missing you a lot. And to be honest, I was too.
Yeah, I've been missing the both of you just as much.
She takes her hand and she kind of softly places it on your cheek. You look like you've been through a lot.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a lot. Found out Leon's an old god. We went to Deventer. Some angry people tried to stone me to death. And then we fought Corypheus and went to this weird Chi Island place.
That definitely sounds like quite an adventure. Here, why don't you have a seat at one of my favorite chairs? And she'll take you over to a chair, and it's a beautiful... it's a very furry, like soft and furry chair. Really, really comfy. And as soon as you sit on it, Violetta kind of does a little bit... I see a lot of her movements when she casts spells to be very similar to Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch. Like, she's got that, like, fingering thing that she does when she casts spells. So she, like, kind of passes her fingers across the chair, and the chair starts to... The magical version of a massage chair. It starts to, like, you know, massage your back a little bit and, you know, does the whole vibrating thing, blah, blah, blah. And if you want to, like, give her the rundown, you can just tell me that you explain everything, and...
I will say that it explains everything up to the whole, like, everyone becoming demigods thing.
So did anything useful in particular come out of your time at the Chi Isle that could help against the Siderials?
Out of character, because Violetta's a mage, could she, like, sense, like, otherworldly power, kind of?
I'm sure she can, but I think that she wouldn't mention anything unless she got some sort of extra confirmation.
Yeah, Russo's just gonna kind of get up the chair, then put her hand on his chest.
Whoa. I definitely feel something. And it's not from the Fade. It feels very different. Similar to your chakra essence that I felt before, but it's probably grown to 20 times the size by this point.
When we got to the Chi Isles, the other skilled ones explained that we were, the second coming of the old gods.
So, if I were to put two and two together, you're saying that you have the ability to ascend, just like the Siderials would?
I've partly already ascended.
What do you mean by partly?
Like, my soul itself has changed.
I see. So is this a trial period? You get a sample of it before you decide to purchase the entire subscription?
How it was explained that we become this, and then at some point later on we get another choice.
Well, what do you think about that?
I really don't know, but it's a little jarring. Especially because I was already a skilled one. It felt like it hit me way more than it hit everyone else.
What do you think you would choose at the end of the day, if you were to make the decision right now?
I really don't know. I kind of wanted your clarity on it, because I only took the first Ascension so we can fix the screw-up made by everyone else thousands of years ago. But I don't know if anyone should particularly rise to that level again.
I imagine there's pros and cons of whatever you decide. My suspicion is that you can remain as you are, as a demigod. You can ascend, or you can give up your chakra powers completely and go back to what you were before this entire adventure began. That's just my theory. If you decide to let go of your chakra abilities completely, then you'll return back to some normalcy in your life and be able to spend the rest of your days however you see fit. But my suspicion is that means that the dragonfly whatever wouldn't just disappear, it would go over to another host. And that host could presumably decide to become a demigod and ascend into godhood themselves. We would have to put our faith that the dragonfly ends up with the right person, if that were the case. If they were given that power instead of you. If you remain as you are, you can still continue to live your life as normal as you'd like. You would be hailed as a hero, probably at the same level as the Guardians are now. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the sacrifices that the Guardians made, but hopefully you've also seen a lot of the benefits that they've gained from being a Guardian purely by their own influence. I mean, look at Andrea, for example. That woman has a lot of influence, and it can be very scary at times, but she uses it for good, and I think that's nice. Or you can be something even more beyond that and exceed the power and the influence of the Guardians themselves. It would mean that you would have a lot more responsibility. It would mean that you could change the world, hopefully for the better, for not just Balin, but for everyone around Thedas. Would you be able to maximize the amount of time you would spend with your son as a god? Probably not, compared to if you gave up all that power altogether. But I'd like to believe that as a god you can still spend time with him. You presumably would have some sort of mortal form, or a form like yourself now, to visit him whenever you'd like. But I know that Cedric, for example, feels himself split between spending time with his family and his responsibilities as a guardian. But I don't think that he would have had it any other way. Does that help you with any sort of clarity as to what you may lean more towards?
It does. Violetta, since I started this whole escapade, I feel like I've given up more than everyone else just to keep this whole thing going. I gave up my life, my career. I was willing to throw myself away from Balin forever. I even gave up revenge against my brother.
I agree with you. 100%.
It's just, I don't know when it's too much of a sacrifice anymore.
In a perfect world, what do you, Russo, want?
If none of this had happened, ideally I would have loved to have just kept at my job and keep facing Balin and been fulfilled there, eventually become a high judge helping others in Navarra. Now that all of this has happened, I don't want to be anywhere without you and him, Violetta.
She takes a hold of your hand and she kind of squeezes it. Do you necessarily need to be a high judge in Navarra? You could be a high judge wherever you'd like. And you know me, I used to live with a caravan. I just went wherever my whims took me, and right now my whims are perfectly fine following you and Balin around. And I don't think that Balin is necessarily attached to a specific place. He's attached to you, ultimately. So I just feel like the world is your oyster, Russo. If that's what you want.
So there'd be no judgment if I went all the way and ascended.
I think that if you chose to ascend, I can't speak for Balin, but I think he would be very proud. You know why? Because while I was working with him as the next Guardian of Fire, he's gotten a big appreciation for what that position means and how much good he can do with his gifts and responsibility and allowing himself to be more than what he is. And I think that if you choose to ascend, he will see you as a role model, because he knows that that comes with a sacrifice, just like a guardian comes with sacrifice. And whenever things are challenging and tough for him when he grows older to become the Guardian of Fire, all he has to do is look to his father for strength, knowing that you are bearing more responsibilities than even a guardian like him has. And yet, you make it work somehow. As for myself, personally, I think dating a god is pretty smoking hot, she says. I'd like to think that there are a bunch of benefits for that. What would I be called? Second lady? Second god? First lady? Well, we'd have to come up with a proper title if that was the case. Do I get my own domains? Can I have like sort of a subdomain that I could be in charge of?
I really don't know how it works. I just stepped into this about a day ago.
Well, I admit, selfishly, as a woman as scholarly as myself about magic, I'm very curious, Russo. Not pushing you in any direction, but this whole thing has my curiosity very piqued.
And here I was thinking you just had a thing for tall, red-headed, horned people.
She chuckles a little bit, and she says, I have a thing for anyone who is brave, who is selfless, who loves his family, and who values the simple moments in life when they can, in addition to all of their responsibilities. That's what I'm very attracted to. The god part doesn't hurt, I'll admit, but she'll wink at you. That's what I think.
Remember before I left the caravan when you told me that you had one dream and it was a curse you were just gonna have to live with?
Yes, I do. Yes.
I have one other thing to tell you.
Did you adopt someone at the Chi Isles?
No,
Russo
I
Alren?
wouldn't adopt without you there. What kind of hoodlum do you take me for?
Yeah, she said, I'm about half expecting you to turn around and say, no, go back. just nix the whole thing. It just says, why am I seeing that in my head right now? She says,
No.
Abort.
No, actually, I think I might have found a solution to your problem if you want it.
How so?
I've come across two things. The
listening.
first one,
Should I sit down?
probably.
She'll sit down into her chair. Wait, hold on. And then it starts to vibrate. Okay, go ahead, hit me, she says.
So the first thing I found was in Tevinter, and it's been long forgotten, but it came into our possession. This could be used as many times as you want, but it's a lot more risky. And Russo's gonna pull out the grimoire. This belonged to Flemeth.
You're kidding me. Her eyes light up.
And while most entries really aren't intact, this one stayed pretty firmly together. And he'll flip it to the one where it talks about the potion for eternal youth.
Has it been like translated out of character?
I have
Is it
like a
technically-
translated version.
Got
She
it, got
doesn't
it.
speak Elven.
My goodness. She says, Rousseau, this is very powerful magics.
I know. Then the other option is if you just want the one. I found myself in this weird, mysterious place where castles rose to the sky and like everyone had magic and it was pretty awkward. But one woman in particular named Roxana also gave me this potion recipe. It's for fertility.
Really? I know that there have been several alchemists in the past who've attempted to create potions like this, but were never fully successful. How much do you trust this woman's abilities?
I'd say I do, because they went through their own adventure, is what I was told, like we did.
Well, Rousseau, if you trust this woman, then I trust her as well. And she says, the grimoire in of itself, that's a whole other conversation you and I can have later, because the meaning of this is huge. If this is actually what you are saying it is. But I'm no fool, Rousseau. I know that spells like this, powerful spells like this, come at a price. And that price is something that I am as somebody who is very knowledgeable about curses, I'm a little cautious about that. The potion, however, I might be a little bit more comfortable with.
It's if you really want that dream, we can have it.
If I did decide to make myself younger, Rousseau, would that make me more beautiful to you? She asks.
No. He'll put his hand on the side of her head. You are absolutely beautiful, just as you are, Violetta. I just wanted to give you the chance to have the one thing you deserve and could never get.
So nobody's ever said that to me before, she says. Thank you. I appreciate that. This is a priceless gift. But I hope you know, Rousseau, that you and Balin were always enough for me. But I won't say no to this chance either.
Okay. The potion it is. I've just got one last question, Violetta.
Sure.
Russo will kind of get up. Can we walk?
Of course. And with that, she'll take your hand and you can take her wherever you'd like in the breach.
Yeah, it would be fair to say that like we could go to the outside where it looks at the skyline
Sure.
and everything.
Yeah. You can do that. And it can be in the middle of the day, it can be in the middle of the night, it can be a sunset, sunrise, whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, midday is fine. Russo will kind of look at the skyline. You know they say every passing day the winds blow stronger. till something can light the way to keep the reminder. Absolutely nothing could measure the kind of strength inside our hearts, Violetta. I'm yours forever, and there's no end in sight for us. We're all connected together in this life. And don't you forget it. And he'll get down on the one knee. Violetta, I'm ready to be yours forever if you're mine forever. And he'll pull out like the violet necklace that he got at the Chi Isles. Would you be my Queen Alren?
Violetta looks very beside herself. She's doing the whole... Oh my god! She's doing the whole very girly, oh my god! And she says, okay. She kind of takes a deep breath, and she finally says, Russo Alren, for many, many years, I was cursed with the inability to love. And when that curse was broken, I never thought I would see this day. So I just wanted to thank you for being the one giant lucky charm that this curse mage has ever had. And yes, of course, I would love for you to be my king as well. And she will wrap her arms around you and give you a kiss.
And before he returns the kiss, and I've waited so long to find someone else that made me feel like I wasn't sinking. You've been the one light that helped me pull myself out the dark. And with that, I feel like they'd kiss, and he'd even do the bridal dip right there.
You do that. Meanwhile, I would like to. Pasha as Dan the Man has a drone. Or whatever. Somehow Pasha took a drone from
Dan the Man.
from Dan the Man.
Yo, homie, you can use this.
Yeah, exactly.
Pasha and Dareth were just looking like.
I was imagining the windows open. There's a Pasha doing.
Delpham is actually flying the drone. Pasha has put her head up around his cloak because there are no bushes nearby, so it's Delpham, I need to peer through your cloak.
Yes. And then when you finally finish your passionate kiss, I think she'll say, so about that whole thing about me being your light and et cetera, could you pass that along to Cedric, because I don't think he fully buys that yet. He doesn't really trust me that much, even to this day. Maybe you can knock some sense into him.
Well, I guess if I end up becoming a god, I'll be above him.
You have the power of objection. I'm just saying, she says, if you know what I mean.
Dude.
To knock him around convincingly.
You could ban the existence of stairs.
That's true.
You could be the god of anti-stairs, the god of elevators. There are no more stairs to say, there's only elevators.
I'll tell you what, we'll talk to him and go from there.
She says, that's my man. and then she'll embrace you again. Yay, beautiful scene. Cool.